how a newly unified, powerful state was repeatedly weakened by formidable foreign invaders. The unification of the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms after 871 transformed England into a new and powerful state. But even this strength could not repel the relentless Viking attacks, or raids. During the reign of King Æthelred, the foreign threat intensified. After his death in 994, Olaf Guthfrdsson and later the Norwegian Viking Eric Bloodaxe twice occupied the important English center of York and ruled for a short period. Meanwhile, an unknown king managed to defeat the royal forces in the Battle of Maldon, which occurred around 990. King Æthelred is historically notorious for his very name. The word unready, which was a satirical nickname, originally meant ill-counseled, poorly planned, or foolish at that time. One poor decision during his reign was strengthening the Vikings' power. According to history, every time the king paid the Vikings money, Danegeld, they returned more frequently, demanding more money. In 1013, Sweyn Forkbeard turned the tide of these attacks. As part of a rapid Scandinavian response, Sweyn, whose sister had been killed in England, prepared to take personal revenge on Æthelred. Sweyn advanced south and captured Winchester. Even the Jomsvikings switched sides and joined him. When Sweyn Forkbeard conquered all of England, Æthelred the Unready fled to Normandy. However, upon receiving the news of Sweyn Forkbeard's sudden death, Æthelred returned to England with Norman mercenaries. After his death, his son Canute came forward with his father's unfinished plan. Canute did not abandon his father's plan and gathered a new army to invade England in 1015. Relying on support from the northern region, he defeated the Vikings in several battles. Finally, in the autumn of 1016, Canute ended the struggle. He proposed dividing England along the River Thames, the northern part for him and the southern part for Edmund. To legitimize his power, Canute married Emma, the widow of the previous king, Sweyn. Surprisingly, there was little change for the English under Canute's rule. The kingdom continued to be governed by its old laws. After the death of Canute the Great, his son Harthacnut succeeded him. Harthacnut faced a rebellion against his rule even in Norway, where Magnus the Good, the son of the previous king, led the war for independence. In 1042, upon Harthacnut's death, the English earls made Edward the Confessor king. While Edward focused on religious matters, England's political power gradually shifted to the influential Earl Godwin. After Godwin's death, his wealth and political influence were inherited by his eldest son, Harold Godwinson, who soon became one of the main contenders for the throne. To protect the kingdom from Viking raids, King Charles the Simple granted Normandy to the Viking leader Rollo the Walker. The Normans quickly adapted to their new territory, adopting Christianity and the French language. The ruler of Normandy, William the Bastard, was an illegitimate son. He gained experience in the political world from a young age, establishing his control by suppressing a rebellion at the age of 20. The Anglo-Saxon nobles were unwilling to see a foreigner wear the crown of England. Thus, in January 1066, William began preparations to conquer England. As the Norman forces were insufficient, he actively recruited mercenaries from neighboring countries. To legitimize the invasion, he sought the Pope's approval and used the story of King Harold's false oath. At this time, the third contender for the throne was King Harald III Hardrada of Norway, known for his cruelty. Harold believed he had a claim to the crown of England. Harold Godwinson's brother, Tostig, sought an alliance for this Norwegian invasion due to personal grievances. The Norwegians advanced to the River Humber and defeated the English forces in the Battle of Fulford. The English king Harold Godwinson quickly reached the north with his army. The English forces unexpectedly confronted the Norwegians near Stamford Bridge. Despite the Norwegians holding the bridge, they were defeated in the battle. Legend says both King Hardrada and Tostig were killed in this battle. However, Harold Godwinson did not have long to celebrate his victory. Just 3 days later, he received news of the invasion by Duke William of Normandy in the south. Harold and his army immediately began a rapid march south, covering almost 40 kilometers a day. On October 14, 1066, in the Battle of Hastings, the English army formed a shield wall in a superior position. This proved effective against the Vikings, and the first Norman attack failed. Then William resorted to deception again. He ordered his infantry to feign a retreat. Thinking victory was at hand, the English descended the hill to finish off the Normans. There, they were met by the Norman cavalry, knightly cavalry, and were defeated. Harold Godwinson was killed in the battle. Even after winning the battle, William could not immediately subdue the entire country. He forced the residents of London to open their gates by threatening to burn and destroy the suburbs. On December 25, 1066, William the Bastard became the King of England. But problems began as soon as William set off for Normandy. Edgar Atheling escaped from captivity and fled to Scotland, and Harold Godwinson's sons started a rebellion in Devonshire. William had to return to restore order. During the suppression of the Northern Rebellion, the Norman forces carried out a massacre, systematically wiping out villages. This event is known in history as the Harrowing of the North. This victory marked the beginning of typical European feudalism in England. William granted castles and lands to his barons. Consequently, the French-speaking Norman nobility took control of the rule. To consolidate Norman rule between 1085 and 1086, William the Conqueror ordered the creation of the first comprehensive census in English history, the Domesday Book. This book contained detailed information about the land ownership of the entire English aristocracy.